All right, episode 92, ladies and gentlemen. It's just Courtney and I.
Reggie
it's
White.
Just the two of
92.
us. So it should be an interesting little episode.
Back to the basics, right? When we started this 5 years,
Yeah,
6 years ago.
something like
Almost
that.
like that.
On this episode, we're going to kick things off with a bottle of Knob Creek, and this is something new, I believe, that they've done. It's a bourbon-rye combo deal. It's like a boo-rye, if you will. I saw something online about this recently, and they were insinuating that it was somewhat new, and I caught it in a store locally, so I picked it up. This has got 30% Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey and 70% Kentucky straight rye whiskey. Little combo deal.
I'm not mad at that.
No, I'm not mad at it either. I am a
Combination.
I've been coming around the Knob Creek a little bit lately. They have some pretty nice bottles
Knob
out
Creek
there.
is like it's like a Chevy or Ford.
If you say so.
You know, like, yeah, it's always
kind of tried.
It's
and
going to do the
true.
job, right?
Yeah,
It's going to
more
get you
or less.
there.
Sometimes better than others,
Yeah,
or worse than others, depending on the bottle that you
like I think
get
like
your hands on.
such a weird bottle to me too, that it's like flat, like a book, and I don't feel right holding it.
They have a nice. I kind of like the Knob Creek bottle, so I'm going to take the opposite stance. I think they look good on the shelf. They kind of
stack
sit
better.
well. Yeah, they're nice. I'm not
as a
mad.
man, you gotta hold it like that. I'd feel like if I were I don't know.
I don't know. Why don't you
I don't
say
know.
it?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't
If
know
were
where you're
like
going.
I'd hold it like that.
Interesting start to the show.
Yeah.
Well, we'll fire things up right away. Joker
Let's
2,
go. Joker 2.
not doing so hot.
Bum, bum,
Now, I know you didn't go see it.
Nah, man.
I've not seen it either.
That's
so
not a Joker movie, man.
that's your take.
Well,
It's not the Joker movie that people want. I think the problem at large here.
so after I saw, so did we go see it together? The first Joker?
No.
Did we? I don't
No,
remember.
I've not even seen the first Joker.
Okay,
So
all right.
let's just we're going to just clear the deck here.
All right. So the first one has a lot of threading in the story about Gotham, but the only thing about it is that it takes place in Gotham. That's it. It's not the Joker, right? It's just a crazy man that lives in Gotham. So when this was announced, I was like, all right. But then I heard it was going to be a musical, and I was like, what? I don't know what that means. I really don't know what that means. And now I'm hearing that it is complete garbage. It makes sense. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Todd Phillips came out and said that Arthur Fleck is not even the Joker. So, like, because he's pissed at the ratings or the reviews.
Yeah, so I know I have a little bit of backstory on this, and I don't know how many people are going to go catch this in theaters, but a little bit of a spoiler,
cheers.
upcoming spoiler. So, mute yourself or skip ahead a little bit. You don't care about the spoilers.
I
It's really
don't.
sensitive.
I
Okay,
mean,
great.
no, I don't.
So,
care. Never did.
The first Joker, as I understand it, was kind of propped up on the idea that it was an origin story of sorts for the Joker, more or less, right?
Right.
And what ultimately happens in the conclusion of the sequel is it's more or less revealed to us that he is not the Joker. He winds up kind of being the inspiration for who the Joker ultimately is.
Yeah.
There's a closing scene where we see another individual who carves the smile into his mouth, insinuating that he is the Joker and was inspired by Arthur Fleck. Now, I think there's I don't know if anybody from the movie has come out and confirmed one way or another, but I've heard two different takes on this. One is that it's symbolic, meaning that Arthur was in fact the Joker, but the Joker isn't any one person. It's more of an ideology and can transfer.
More of a mantle.
Correct. So
I hate that.
It can kind of pass from one person to another. So you're seeing it more or less transfer from him to basically the next iteration.
Whoever wants to be the next
Whoever is going to
guy.
be the Joker moving forward. And then I've also heard the take that this is the creation of the Joker in that final moment. And then a fun little side thing off of all of that is there's rumors that Christopher Nolan has gotten
involved. I heard that
a little bit, and that the original movie was supposed to. The original Joker was supposed to end with Arthur dying ultimately, and the scene of passing the Joker mantle onto somebody else or inspiring the Joker with the cut face was supposed to be the original ending for the first Joker, and that Christopher Nolan got involved and shut that down at the time because he felt like it was potentially kind of stepping on the toes a little bit
of what he made with Heath Ledger.
Yes, correct. Of what he made with Heath Ledger, and because at the time he had a little bit of pull with Warner Brothers, he was able to successfully, I guess, shut it down. And because now he's no longer with Warner Brothers, they're not super concerned about Christopher Nolan's perspective on things. So I guess I got the okay or the green light in the end of the sequel.
Big CN, man. Sometimes you gotta put it on the table and let people know who you are.
But it's all rumors at this stage in the game, but look,
man.
Plausible.
One thing about this is the joy of being a person who loves comic books, right? Like, a writer can get a character and tell any story they want, and then in a year, the story will be retold again, right? You can do you can make as many different Jokers as you want.
Sure.
The problem with movies and movie directors and studios, they then want to take that character or, that iteration of him or whoever and want to make a big franchise around it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge risk because if you take, for instance, the Joker and you use an iteration or adaptation that is not fond to people or not cemented in the foundation of who that comic book character is, then you get all of this backlash. You get what's happening. I mean, it doesn't help that the movie's bad, right? But then you get...
Well, I'm not convinced or even sure that the movie is bad. I've not seen it. So I'll have to... Shit. Don't hurt yourself, dude.
I was just trying to...
It's a dramatic situation unfolding before us.
So mad.
It's okay.
So mad about the Joker.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself, dude. Take your time. Go. Get adjusted.
Sheesh.
All right. So I've not seen it. Can't really speak to whether or not it is in fact a bad or good movie.
38 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Does not have a great rating on both sides of the fence. Yes, but again, I think it's a movie that was made with no real audience because it's not. It doesn't. My sense is just based upon the trailers that it's not really catered towards the crowd, like the musical crowd. It feels like it doesn't really check all those boxes,
right?
And it doesn't really feel as if it's going to check any of the comic book crowd boxes either. And it's too far off the mark, I think, to be in either one of those categories, like in any way, shape, or form. So
it's the Joker Broadway musical in theaters. Like they could have just took this to Broadway and just did it that way.
Maybe. I don't know. And sure.
In the words of Kanye West, what do Lady Gaga know about cameras?
It's fair. It's a fair point. I don't know.
What do Todd Phillips know about comic books? You know
on the other hand, I'll defend it a little bit in the sense that I kind of do see a world in where a very weird, quirky musical take on something like the Joker, a character like the Joker, could find some type of cult following or some weird niche. It's the kind of movie that I could see not doing well at the box office, but like in 5 or 6 years, people
it'll
really
get some type of meme legs, or
people could just start to think like, oh man, we really overlooked that at the time, or that the audience that the movie was not marketed to and the audience that didn't go see it in theaters will find their way to it over the course of the next couple of years.
Like Fall Guy?
And maybe it can
or
wind
not
up...
Fall Guy. What's the movie with Ryan Reynolds when he was the comic book character?
Oh.
Right? Was terrible in the theaters. And
Green Lantern?
No. He was not the comic book character, the video game character. And then when it came to streaming, everybody was like, oh my God, like this is great.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name
I
of
don't
it.
remember the name. I kind of remember the gist of it, but I don't remember the name. I never saw it, so I can't speak to it.
Because it had so many different video game references, and it was like the anti-Ready Player One.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just they bombed it. And then when people saw it at home on streaming, they were like, this is actually pretty badass.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think in a weird way, I think there could be a world where this finds some avenue of success, but it definitely felt like a flop from a theatrical perspective.
And I think that's the problem.
For sure.
Theatrical perspective. I think in like...
It's just not what people want to go to the movies for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think musicals really...
Musicals have a space, and they do okay.
For children.
And not even for children. Like if something like The
Trolls.
Greatest Showman and stuff like that, Sweeney Todd,
Sweeney
there
Todd.
definitely are some movies that
There you go.
Again, but if they come out,
Reel me back in. You're
they
right.
come out, they're marketed well and accordingly. There is definitely not like an aesthetic is not the right word, but there's kind of like a cadence or an overall approach, I think, to the traditional musical that is very appealing and captivating to the traditional musical audience goer. And I think the Joker kind of sidesteps a lot of those things. My understanding is like, it's not, it's a little too weird and not musical enough. It doesn't have like big numbers in it, big set pieces. It's not
like go all out, right? Like
Yeah.
you seen what was that movie that came out last Christmas with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds again?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It was a musical.
Yes, correct.
And it was fun, right?
100%.
It was kind of like quirky and it leaned into the element of being not a good movie, but we're going to have fun and lean into stupid songs as a fun Christmas musical. That's what you're supposed to make them, like.
Well, and that doesn't mean that like musicals can't be sad or of darker subject matter. It's just, I don't,
What's the other
it has
one?
to be marketed properly. And I still think the musical numbers and overall direction have to be pretty dialed.
I'm having so many technical
this was totally set up. Bro. You keep fussing with me.
I'm sorry, bro.
It's okay. You don't know what you're doing over there. Reinventing
like
the
everything
wheel.
is like loose. Oh man.
But anyway,
yeah,
neither of us have seen it, so we're gonna move on. Probably won't until it comes to streaming. May never watch it at all. I don't know.
We do a movie night, I will come over and we'll just watch and see how terrible. After we record one night, we'll watch it and see how terrible it is.
So moving on to something that's a little bit more in theme of the time of year because it is spooky season. Terrifier 3 came out. Or is coming out. Sorry, October 11th.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, have you partaken in the other Terrifiers?
I watched
1 and 2.
I did watch pieces of the first one.
Okay.
But I can't enjoy, again, man, when we talk about this every spooky season, I don't get to enjoy spooky things as much as I like because everyone in my house is
not into spooky things.
Pussycats, man. Like,
yeah. Well, you could late at night.
Yeah.
Step into your office.
Turn off all the lights. Wrap myself in a cozy little blanket.
Exactly. You get yourself a little popcorn, dude.
Yeah.
Fire that bad boy up.
Yo, and I want to watch Long Legs. I want to catch up on Terrifier, and Smile 2 are like where I'm at.
I have no interest in Smile 2. I would have caught.
You watched the first one?
I didn't. That one looked a little interesting to me. Smile 2 is way too of like, it's like a concept movie, and I don't like that.
Ah, got you. Okay.
I don't like that when they do like a weird kind of like offshoot. The whole thing is like real left field. It's not like a traditional.
Like Joker 2.
Building off of the original. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. It's weird. It happens to like a pop star or something like backstage. And it's like during her like concert, people are getting the smile thing. It's just I don't like the concept. It just feels unappealing to me.
I got you.
I don't know. I'm not interested. I've seen none of Terrifier beyond trailers. But
spooky season.
I might have to get caught up on it. I don't know. I'm not a huge Gore guy if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, Gore. Which is like the Terrifier thing. Yeah. That's the bread and butter of it.
Like, it was in one where like the guy was like cutting pieces of her skin off.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I saw.
But the second one, people got sick in the theater and left.
What?
And now the third one, people have been getting sick.
That's what it's supposed to be.
And
like if you're gonna go,
and it's been getting banned in some cities.
Good.
So
if you can't take it, stay out of the kitchen. Like,
and it's not rated, unrated.
How does
There's not very many of those movies.
Doesn't the Senate have like a say or what like goes in movies if it has a rating or not?
So I don't think that like you can promote it, and I don't think that you can run like trailers and stuff. Like the marketing and everything cannot be done through traditional
just gotta word
avenues.
of mouth. You just gotta know what it is.
More or less correct. It's
that.
kind of like if a studio or like if you just personally made a movie and rented out a theater and just like played your movie in it. I guess like technically you could do it. And I think that's more or less what I'm sure there's a distribution component to it. I'm not saying that there's not, but it's not like you're going to go see a movie this weekend and catch the Terrifier 3 trailer. Like that won't happen, I don't believe.
Gotcha.
Because it doesn't go through any type of approval process,
like
which I believe trailers have to. Therefore, movies have to. It's a whole thing.
It's not going to be like on Apple trailers.
I don't know. I mean, you can definitely search for it and go find it yourself if you want. And there are movies out there that are NC-17 or have higher ratings than R. But this one is just unique because it's not rated, period.
Huh. No rating. They said, you know what?
Unrated.
Balls to the wall.
Yeah.
You rate it after you see it.
But it is playing in theaters. I thought maybe it would be like not.
I thought that was like
theaters.
the law. Like you had to have a rating.
I got to be honest, dude. I don't think there's any rules.
You know, remember us being teenagers. We were younger. Less gray, more hairline.
Sure. Take me there.
Cars with always less than a quarter tank of gas. Maybe earlier than that, right? And the warning parental advisory thing on CDs was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like I remember seeing on like MTV News, like this was the law.
Yeah.
Right? Like this now, if this has explicit material in it, you can't buy it if you're not 17 or something crazy, or you had to have something weird like that, right?
Yeah.
And then they did it to TV, right? Like,
sure. I mean, they started rating stuff. Kids were getting a little out of hand. I don't know if the parental advisory sticker still exists.
It just says explicit. I don't
know if I've seen a parental advisory sticker.
I don't know where to buy actual CDs from anymore. So I don't even know. Can you still buy them at Target?
I don't know. We don't have a fact checker. So
I know Target.
We have no producer for this episode. It's just me.
Thanks, Josh, for.
Let's see. Parental advisory stickers. Does the parental advisory sticker still? No, it's not.
Yeah.
The article it says doesn't matter anymore. That's not what I'm doing.
There's no associate producer. I don't know where the heck he is.
Although a voluntary practice that is ultimately left to the discretion of record labels.
So it's voluntary now.
Seems like it's voluntary.
So
it's not a requirement.
So I'm checking on.
That's based upon the very loose search that I did.
Okay. So
very quick cursor.
Search. It just says explicit. And I don't know if like Apple Music does the thing. I don't know how to do that. I don't know where you can like see the booklet. Was that on purpose? Did you do that?
That's not me, dude. There's a cricket somewhere.
I thought you did that for me talking.
Chirping up.
That was pretty cool.
Chirping up. Spooky season.
Yeah, man. Talk about it.
Sounds like it's in the house.
Like, am I that boring? Damn.
Screen Strangler is in the house.
He's back?
In the house. So, you're not going to go out to the theaters to catch Terrifier 3.
I mean, if you want to go.
You're not going to get out there.
We can go.
I don't know that I want to get ill in the theater. I don't know if I would get ill.
You said Gore's not your thing.
It's not my thing. It's not my thing. And sometimes when I'm seeing like weird blood things online, like not online, TV shows, we're doing like blood draws and like sticking people with stuff, medical stuff in particular can kind of weird me out sometimes. I don't get like ill, like I want to throw up, but I can get a little like queasy.
I have a very, you know me, my imagination sometimes really like runs away with me. And I have a weird.
Gets out of hand.
Gets really out of hand. And I have a weird empathy for people being gored up, right?
Okay.
Because then in my mind, I'm like, how do they move on in life? Right? Like, example, Game of Thrones. When Jaime Lannister lost his hand, right? For a week, I was like, what is he gonna do now?
Yeah, but that's not gored up.
I mean, but
it's not like gory.
No. That's just like
This
amputation.
is a movie where they're specifically trying to push the limits of what's
gore.
even possible from a gore perspective.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like when it's that much gore, I'm like, how do you come back from this? In my head, I'm like, is there coming back? What happens to you now?
How do they take it any further? I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I don't think I'm going to go catch it in theaters. Maybe I'd give it like a pass at home where I could like kill the volume or something if I had to.
Yo, that crick is getting busy.
He's really worked up, and might have to go find him. End his story.
Well, come on, 5. Go get the
The dogs don't care for whatever reason. Don't know why.
But I step foot in here, they go crazy.
Something's piping up, dude.
What you watching?
What am I watching?
Yeah.
I'm still on the Agatha train.
That was fun.
I've been, I've been enjoying that.
You up to date?
Up to date. I didn't see today's episode because there's one that comes out
4.
tonight.
Yeah, so it comes out probably now while we're doing this.
It's fun. I could use a little maybe break from the formula a little bit. I'm afraid that every episode is just going to be this like different house scenario thing maybe.
Witch house.
Yeah.
Witch's house.
Yeah. Like we're going to go into a different witch's house like every episode.
Yeah. It's like Hansel and Gretel.
The only problem with it, and I'm not mad at it completely, I feel like I can predict it a little bit.
It's a little predictable. It's a little sitcom-y.
I'm thinking now like, okay, every episode we're just going to go into a different house. It'd be fun to have a little bit more dynamics going on.
They're going to lean into each witch.
Yeah.
Like each
episode.
I
get that. I get that. So I feel like I kind of know what I'm getting into before every episode comes out. But it's a very good spooky time show. I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Aubrey Plaza is my jam.
She does fine. I think we really get very little screen time with her. So
thus far 3. So none of her in 2. 1, she's like she's right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And in 3, she comes back.
So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, seems like she's going to be sticking around for a little bit. So
as long as she's there, I'm there.
But I've been rewatching a lot of spooky time stuff. Again, given the season, I worked through Stranger Things again.
You did? How was that, man?
It was great. It was a very good time. It's such a great show.
It's so good.
It really compounds.
Even when it gets like off the rails,
excellent.
it's still like, oh. Yeah.
Season 4 truly is an accomplishment. Like it's a really miraculous adventure.
Yeah, man.
And there's so many different storylines and so many different characters. You really forget how many people
keep it
that they pull into that.
They really keep it like looped and like threaded to a T. And like,
there's nobody that gets like the
shaft,
more or less. I mean, I guess you could make an argument that there was less screen time for some than others, but you really just feel like everybody's arc is very meaningful, and every episode is like 2 hours long. So it just is like a bunch of mini movies, and it's just by the end, it's just
ridiculous.
Oh, dude, it's out of hand.
It's Avengers Endgame. Like
it's out of hand.
Yeah.
And the ending, the setup in the very end is just so triumphant.
Yeah.
Like it's just we've ascended. Like we got here. Like this is like worst case scenario. Hawkins is falling apart. The Upside Down is now here.
Yeah.
And it's just all of the characters finally reassembled. It is very much like the Avengers.
It's Avengers Endgame. They get back and they're like, all right, so how do we do this?
Yep.
It's very
so it's very exciting. Very, very exciting. I can't wait for season 5. It's going to be a while still, which is very depressing.
Yeah, they're going to be like super adults. I keep seeing
I don't know that it's going to feel all that different from season 4. Season 4, you can definitely tell they're on the older side. But in fairness, they are in high school / college.
They should be in college now by the time season 5.
I don't think that the kids are. I think some of them are. Like, I think the brothers and the sisters, like the older brothers and the older sisters and stuff, I think they are in college / like working. But I think the core group is still in high school. Which school really has no component in season 4.
It should end with them just graduating.
It has very little component. It's in the very beginning of season 4. You see them kind of what their life looks like in school. It's very brief, and then they're fully tapped out of that. And I suspect season 5, there's no aspect of school.
It's just
period,
terror.
Which is a great way of handling it. You kind of just have to like totally avoid it altogether. So yeah, Penguin, been sticking up with that, kept keeping up with that. I missed last week's episode because there was one on Sunday night.
I'm so surprised at how good it is.
I would imagine that it's just going to continue to be solid.
So
for the duration of the season.
One of my buddies, no, I'm wrong. They were chatting about it in my comic book chat today about DC, and they're just being a shithole. But they were making a comparison about, Sony can't make one good movie about a villain, and finally, Warner Brothers has put out something that's I will go as far as to say it is remarkable, this story that they're telling with the Penguin. He's the last character I would have expected to have a good TV show.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it has anything to do with the Penguin. I think you could put, and I'm not dogging DC or the character, but you could apply any character
in this
to this show.
That is my major problem with it too, right?
It could be like a Sopranos prequel or something,
yes.
Right? And it could just be some guy.
Because there's no Batman.
Well, not even that, but there's very little
comic book
superhero element even there. I mean, we hear references of other people and other characters.
Yeah, they kind of hint.
Dogs are piping up.
Is that your significant other?
I don't know, dude. Man. It's a great question. Find out here in a moment.
She still live here?
Could just be the crickets.
I don't know.
I stand by my statements, though. It's not really. I don't think the Penguin really has anything to do with the success of the show. If you'd have taken this writing team, this showrunner, director, and you would have plugged in the Joker, you could have plugged in
anybody. It would have worked.
Tony Stark. You could plug in anybody. If you were just doing a good show about somebody's just kind of normal day routine in life.
As a gangster.
Yeah.
And tell it and make it good.
Hey, stop it.
Yo, 5.
Not even like a gangster thing. I mean, it's a great gangster show, but I just think you have a talented writing team and a talented showrunner, and I think they could probably put together a lot of compelling dramas.
I forget that I'm watching a comic book character, a character based on a comic book character. I had to explain that to my wife because she was just like, "Is this how he is in the comic books?" And I was like,
"Not really."
Again with the
no,
because we were watching Beetlejuice last night.
Sure,
and she made a reference to Tim Burton's Batman Returns and about Danny DeVito playing the Penguin there. And she was like, so what's the difference between that and this one? And I was like, well, what happens is different comic book writers take liberties with the, characters, and then they kind of create them as their own. And that's kind of also what happens with movies, so they can differentiate different franchises.
Yes.
And this version of the Penguin is more in a line with the real life, not real life, but the grounded versions as of late of all of the different Gotham franchises. Right?
Sure. It's not really. It's
not really them.
It's not a comic book story.
It's not. It's not.
It's a comic book character just dropped into The Departed. It's all that it really is, right?
I say it again, and I will stand by it, right? We enjoy the Batman. I think freaking the Dark Knight trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies ever, but it's very easy sometimes to forget that, and I said this last episode, and I said it the episode before that, the reason Batman works as a comic book character is because he's a man who dresses up as a bat and frolics around with other superheroes who have superpowers, right? Like he's always involved in some stuff he should not be involved in.
Some of the villains and some of the characters in the Batman universe don't have superpowers though. Like the Joker doesn't really have a superpower.
Neither does dropped in a bad
neither does like the Riddler.
Yeah, no.
I mean, as far as or the Penguin, like they're kind of
fish.
They're in some way, shape, or form, somewhat
there's some
like
unhuman characteristics
correct,
to them.
yeah. Whether it's like a deformation or like something, like there's something weird that like makes them a little bit more unique, but it's more of like a visual thing. I feel like that creates the uniqueness to their character at the end of the day. So I don't know that it has to be a superhero type thing.
This could have been a Tony Soprano.
It could have been a lot
origin story, like it, and that's really what it feels like.
Could have been a lot of things.
It does the Joker thing where it threads to other characters and stories, and but at the same time, I don't know, man. I was never on board with the villain anti-hero story from the jump. And now we're just kind of in a whirlwind genre of it, and I'm just like, I don't need you to personify or humanize a villain for me, right? Like, I don't. Like, they have their reasons for what they're doing, and just let them do it. And the reason we know of them is because we know of the hero that they're facing, and that's what this story should be. Like, don't make the antagonist the protagonist and then give them an antagonist, because now it's just a whirlwind of convoluted storytelling that just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Yeah. So yeah, Stranger Things, Fear Street, been watching through those movies again. Love is Blind.
I watched a little bit of
tapped into a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Not a great season.
I've been seeing people online trashing what's the guy's name? Leo
the boy.
He's got a mouthpiece on him.
Yeah, he's been making a little bit of a scene.
Yeah.
About the finances and stuff.
I like him.
He's kind of coming off as not the best.
Yeah, I like him though.
Why do you like him? What do you like about him? I don't know anybody else.
Leo is the guy who said he looks like who did he say he looks like?
No. This is a different guy.
No, is Leo the rich guy?
Leo's the art dealer.
The art dealer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, not him.
The other dude who you're talking about, he said he looked like Christian Bale.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not Leo.
No, what's his name?
I don't know. He runs off with that girl Taylor though.
The cheerleader or whatever she is?
No.
Which one is she?
She's like
always got the pink lipstick? No, I don't know any of their names.
Taylor's one that looks like Olivia Munn.
Oh, he does?
That's the guy that runs off with her is the guy that said he looked like Christopher Nolan, I believe.
Okay. So
I'm pretty sure.
because I didn't finish it.
I've not finished it either. I've seen like 2 episodes.
Because the Olivia Munn chick, she's hot.
2 or 3 episodes. Yeah.
But she was talking to Nerd Guy first.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she ends up hooking up with the guy with the mouthpiece.
Nerd Guy, no.
Oh, she actually goes with Nerd Guy.
Yeah, Leo runs off of Brittany.
So that's not what I'm talking about then.
Leo runs off of Brittany.
I don't know who Brittany is. I just know what they look like.
Brittany is like the chick that's like, I want a guy that's going to pay for everything. Like I'm
for real?
That's that girl. Yeah, the one that's like, I don't want to, like, she's an esthetician.
Yeah.
She's very like,
she's hot,
I want my stuff taken care of. I don't want to.
She knows what she wants.
Sure. Yeah. That's who he winds up with though, is my understanding. He lands on her, I believe. I've not seen. I have gotten a lot of the show spoiled to me through Instagram Reels. Like I get a lot of it. So this is loosely put together from my recollection of that. So don't hold me to it.
Crazy. Could you do a show like if you were
right about
hypothetically, right? We're both married men. I love my wife very much.
I don't think I would be
as
interested in it.
However, if like they were like, yo, you're a handsome dude, why don't you come like do this show real quick? Did she hear me talking about this?
I don't know.
If she comes, she's going to join the show.
There you go.
There she is. Boom. Come on in.
Come on in.
I know you're still playing with your friends.
Where are you going?
Is this remote? Which remote is this? Like, how do I?
I love it.
Yeah, there's a very frustrating Apple TV technical issue that we're having.
Your remotes aren't pairing right?
Huh?
Your remotes aren't pairing right?
You have to use the thing. Where's your phone?
I don't know.
You have to use the remote on your phone
In the kitchen?
for the one in the kitchen. Yes,
I hate this.
I'll be upstairs in like
Yeah,
10 minutes, less than,
We're wrapping up.
to help you.
It's just us, so it's a
I
short
can't.
show.
I noticed.
I can't explain it.
Control center, hon. Control center.
She doesn't. She doesn't know. She doesn't know how this works.
We're talking about Love is Blind.
She don't care.
Don't give a shit.
That's really deep of you. Love this one.
She's an asshole.
That's what my wife. My wife is.
Oh,
They
it's totally
are
deep.
all the same. You know
I
that,
don't know
right?
how to tell you, dude.
Yeah,
God,
exactly.
she thinks she's so much better than everybody, especially us.
We should get a therapist
Anyway.
and talk to both of us.
No kidding, dude. Love is Blind. Would I be on it? Probably not. It's not a very compelling show to me. I don't believe. I don't know.
I don't know if
I have
there's
not-
enough. Like, you just get me drunk and just let me just talk to people behind a wall. Like, I don't. That's nothing tough.
I don't feel like many people get a
It's not real.
good shake in the edit.
Mm.
I think the Love is Blind producers, not to dog them, but I think they're more interested in the drama of it. I think they're looking for opportunities for people to
Crack. Yeah.
to kind of screw up, not look good, because I think they want to try to exploit it to
Of
a
course.
certain
It's
extent.
reality
right?
TV, yeah.
So I think the cards are kind of stacked against you. And I don't know that I love shows. I don't know that I
That
love the
kind
idea of being
of
on a show where the
waiting.
premise is more like stacked against me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to marrying somebody.
So the objective is, I am to marry this person after.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if. Yeah. I'm not in it for that. Like, oh, I got a match, and then we
Yes.
hook up, and it doesn't work. That's fine. But to marry, like, that's a crazy.
And generally speaking, like if you're just, I'm just going to go on the show and have fun. Generally, you don't really make the cut for screen time anyway.
They really want people who are going to commit to.
Because you see, like they
committing.
bring in like 15 or 20 people on each side,
Yeah.
and you only really follow 5 or 6, even throughout the very beginning. Like there's so many people that are in the peripheral that like you never even get to hear from. So I think you kind of wind up just, if you were to go on the show trying to be very aware of not being an idiot, not saying something
They're
stupid.
going to get you out of there.
I think they're gonna like be like, all right, you're not making the cut. You're not making the edit. You're not making the cut. You're probably not gonna. You know what I mean?
Psychologically, it is kind of interesting that.
Yeah, there's a game to it.
Yeah,
there's a game to it.
To actually,
And I don't know that I want to play that game
in the show. You have to be extremely vulnerable and like really tell your truths to like a stranger.
Yeah,
right. Like you got to make somebody fall in love with you through a wall. Like,
I'm not even fully.
It's like prison.
I'm not even fully convinced
Without
of
the
that. I think you have to
R
figure out. I think you have to figure out who on the show wants to be on the show. Long term. And I think you have to try to wind up like partnering with that person so that you can kind of continue to, because I think people think if I can be on this show for 10 episodes, I'll have enough notoriety that I can build a brand.
I'll get a million followers. I'll sell Blue Chew and like.
So there's probably a handful of people in any given season that wind up being in that category, right? And they kind of have to find one another and partner up and pair off, in my opinion. I think that there's a lot of that happening. And you'll notice like in a lot of seasons where there's always going to be like triangles. Yeah, and I think a lot of that's intentional, where a guy will be like, I have 2 number ones, or he kind of
Leo.
He or
That's
she,
Leo.
He or she
he plays the game, bro.
Will create the dynamics of like, I'm gonna take 2 people and make them kind of work against one another
behind the wall. He's gonna make one be very interested, and he's gonna make the other one like a sleeper agent.
Well, he wants to pit them against one another a little bit to make them feel like, hey, like if you work a little harder, or like there's somebody else who's really into me. right?
I'm letting
and
you know
I
that.
could just go with that.
Which is a dickhead move.
Which is like makes you have to kind of double down and like push harder because now they're not only competing for your love, they're kind of competing against the person that you're.
They're not fighting for you anymore. They're fighting against the.
Yeah, and they want to stay on the show. So then I think it kind of creates
That's politics 101.
Yeah, it's a very.
Don't fight me. Fight them.
Yeah, it becomes.
Fight for me. Don't fight against me.
There's definitely a game to it, and I don't know
if you got that part of the game in you.
I don't know if I care that much. Like I don't know that I have it in me.
We share that where we don't care enough. I don't care.
If I could go on the show and have fun and go on some dates, maybe meet somebody, like okay, maybe sure, but I don't want to.
What's our guy from got the show on Netflix? The comedian, the crazy wild show. Tim
Robinson. Or
yes, Tim Robinson. Where he's on the dating show and he just wants to get on the zip line. Like, that's me, bro. Yeah. Like, just let me, what are we having for dinner? Like, 100%, dude. I don't really want to date here. I'm just here for like the zip line.
Yeah.
And when are we getting in the limo? Like,
more or less. I mean, they're going to fly down to God knows where, Cabo or whatever for a week and hang out and drink and party and chill. Like,
I'll go.
It could be a good time from that perspective. Like if you're young and you want to like create a little bit of a social media influencer kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think about that often.
I don't know if in like my mid 30s though, if I'm like, man, I really need to get this TikTok going.
I think, I really, really had that thought the other day, right? I was listening to a podcast that I listened to, Carmelo Anthony, basketball player, has a podcast with a comedian, Kid Mero. And it's it's really, really, they give inside perspective on like sports and whatever. And I think Mero said something about him recently. He's 40, coming into fame. And it's interesting for him because now he gets to sit down and interview people he's really fans of, like who are like retired basketball players. And it's weird for him because he's a 40-year-old man who is now famous, and the people he's interviewing, he's like, I'm not famous, bro. I'm a fan. Like I'm sitting down, like talking to people I am a fan of. And the people he's interviewing are like, but dude, you're like famous. He's like, nah, like screw that. Like, so for, I had this kind of, thought like, at any given moment, this show could be picked up by whoever, whatever, and we could be famous. And then I'm a famous 40-year-old man. Like, what do I do with that fame now? And I don't think I want to do anything but just do exactly what I'm doing and maybe talk to the people I'm fans of, because being famous does look like it sucks, but
as its pros and cons.
Yeah.
All right, let's review this Knob Creek.
I'm not mad at it. The flavor was very full at first. A lot of stuff going on in the beginning. Yeah. But it is also strong. What's the ABV on it?
56.5. It's 113 proof. So it's definitely going to be it's going to be pretty forward. I think it would do well with a touch of ice for sure. Could be good in a cocktail. Like a nice old fashioned or Manhattan or you need something to just kind of take the edge off of it a little bit. The flavors are fine. I don't dislike it. It does say vanilla, caramel, and pepper. And I would say that those are all pretty accurate. Like, I don't think it is. I do actually taste all of those things. It's not a huge deviation from that flavor profile. I do notice that, we've had some... it's spicy. It's a spicy boy.
Some other distilleries and bottles here and recent that kind of talk about their flavor profiles. But then we get kind of a staple, like a Knob Creek or Bullet or something like that. And then like their flavor profile is like spot on.
Yeah.
Pepper. Like, oh damn, like I taste that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not bad. It's good.
Yeah. It's got a great smell to it. Good flavors, but it is, it's definitely you're gonna feel this one. It's not incredibly smooth or anything like that. It's definitely hits you right up front. So yeah, I would probably say with ice, if not in a little cocktail, a little beverage, maybe something like that. But
It's early. Do you have your Halloween costume?
I don't yet. I've got some ideas I'm kind of working on putting together.
Okay.
Something, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see.
Get something, man.
I'm working on
to
I'm working on it.
come to my kid's costume party.
All right.
I'm dressing up.
I love it. It's great.
We'll drink
Amen.
out of sippy cups.
Oh, God bless, dude. Sign me up. All right. Well, we can wrap up and get out of here a little early. I don't think we
See what happens when you don't have a producer? Show got to end early. We got to go upstairs.
We started late. We
did,
late,
though.
dude.
We did. It's
you
8
got
o'clock.
here. You got here nice and late.
I told you, man.
Yeah,
Kids, bro.
I know.
Fucking suck.
Yeah. And I don't,
As I want to celebrate them in a couple weeks.
That's right, dude. That's
what
right.
are you doing for your birthday? We can end it on that.
Yeah, we might. I don't know. I mean, Emily's got stuff up her sleeve. We might do a little Halloween party or something, a little Halloween get together kind of deal.
But you kind of like
she's cooking something up,
and then like I'll get a text like a week before.
Yeah. Well,
with a whole flyer and like add the iCal, like the whole thing.
There's a lot of drama around it always.
Gotta have drama, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right. That's just how it goes, man.
All right. You poured your another?
Episode 92, dude.
Reggie White.